A result that had been coming for a while, really, wasn't it? Welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well on a deflated Monday morning. For me, I'm here to reflect on yesterday's afternoon. It wasn't entertainment, was it? It was a tough watch, if we're being brutally honest. Fulham 5, West Ham United nil. It's the heaviest defeat for David Moyes as West Ham manager under this tenure. And yeah, look, when you lose 5-0, it's never good. It's never pretty. It's always a disappointment, of course. And look, some people have their opinions on this manager, and I certainly do as well. But whether people want us to lose so we can get Moyes gone, I just don't have that in me, quite simply. I've seen some people say they'd prefer to stick it out and lose a few games and see him sacked than try and plod along until the end of the season and see where we are come May. But I just don't have it in me, to be honest. I was sat there just emotionless watching that second half yesterday because I was just bored. Yes, I was bored of it, but just devastated. And I was devastated because of the way we started the game and hoping that there was going to be a bit of buoyancy, a bit of energy and a bit of fight and passion after the spirited comeback on Thursday night against Tottenham. You know, we were pathetic in the first half, but we managed to turn it around, and full credit to the side for that second half display. But after the first 15 minutes a day, we were just disgusting. It was awful, wasn't it? It was an absolute disgrace. Yeah, and it's pretty much we lost the plot after they scored their first goal. You know, once that first goal went in on the 22nd minute through Raul Jimenez, we completely lost the plot. We lost any sort of intensity, passing ability, enthusiasm. It all went as soon as they went 1-0 up, and it was so bizarre because of how decent we were in those opening stages, and that's a rarity for West Ham. We usually start off the first 2 or 3 minutes okay, and then it all goes downhill. But we had a first decent 20 minutes, and we were comfortable. We weren't, all over on one-way traffic, but we were comfortable at 0-0. And then they scored from a little bit of quality from Palhinha to put the ball in. It's poor marking from both Creswell and Agard. Not one of them picks Raul Jimenez up, and it's a great header, and it's 1-0 when we're on the back foot, and we never left the back foot from that moment on, did we? We never had an answer. There was no plan B. There was no let's get back into the game drive about us. It was, as soon as we're 1-0, we seemed like, oh, well, that's it then. We seemed resigned to defeat, which was baffling. And from that moment on, we never looked back. Just 9 minutes later, 2-0. 10 minutes later, 3-0. Back after half time, after an hour gone, 4-0. And then at the end, 5-0. It was painful. It was painful. And despite all of that, it's been expected. It's been coming for a while, hasn't it? We've described it yesterday on our post-match reaction instantly after the full-time whistle. But we've had that sort of result just boiling, just coming up to the front for a while, haven't we? We've got lucky. We've scraped some late last-minute winners and last-minute equalisers to almost save our bacon. But that was far from anything from the possibility yesterday, wasn't it? I mean, there was no way we were ever getting back into that game after we conceded that first goal. It was just pathetic. And I mean, if I look through the games we've been lucky in recent weeks, Nottingham Forest, we scored late to get an equaliser, I think, from memory. Burnley obviously scored 2 goals late to pick up all 3 points. Crystal Palace, that was sort of an anomaly out of it. And Tottenham, of course, as well. With how poor we were in the first 45 and their inability to capitalise on it, and then us, in the second half coming out and doing the business. But we were still lucky in that game because of how good and unclinical Spurs were in that first 45 minutes to find themselves only 1-0 up. It's been coming for a while. If you watch West Ham on a regular basis, you've known it hasn't been good enough. You've known the performances have been really, really bad, and we've got away with a fair few results in the last month or so. But that's what the pundits and that's what all these commentators don't see. I click on Sky Sports before the game yesterday, and they're all sat there going, I'm baffled by all the pressure that's under David Moyes. He's done a brilliant job. He's done this, he's done that. He won the trophy. He's finished 6th. He's finished 7th. All of the cliches come out. But the fact of the matter is that these people don't have to watch West Ham every week. These people don't have the emotional attraction that we've all got to this football club where we want them to do well, and we want to watch exciting football, where it's the complete opposite of that at the moment. It's been really bad for a long time. We all know that. And results have papered over the cracks. Yes, it's a results business, but at the end of the day, all of us that travel all up and down this country, or even just watch it from home, want to be entertained. As a fan base as a whole, we want to be entertained. And at the moment, we're not being entertained. Yes, it was a fantastic win on Thursday night. Yes, it was brilliant to get one over them lot. There's nothing better than beating them. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I love that second half performance because it was spirited, it was resilient, all the rest of it. It was just brilliant. But we can't rely on that every now and then, because the bottom line is, in that first half, it was one-way traffic against Spurs, and we were really, really poor. We couldn't get out. And then as soon as Fulham scored yesterday, that was it. Game, set and match. Fulham, well done. Congratulations. 3 points. They won't have an easier game all year. Maybe they did a couple of days ago against Nottingham Forest. I mean, they've won back-to-back 5-0 wins at home, Fulham. I mean, we've been a part of that. It's embarrassing. It's pathetic. It's just simply not good enough, and results have papered over the cracks. We had an opportunity yesterday to go up to 6th in the Premier League if we'd have won. Of course we couldn't manage to get there because of the result, but those, we've been picking up results, and you've got to give Moyes credit for that. We've been picking up results despite how damp the performance, despite how poor the performances have been. We've picked up results consistently, but then again, every now and then we can't get that late winner, or we can't nick that goal here and there. It's come back to bite us in specific games, and this one on a huge level, because of the severity of the defeat, and not only the scoreline, which is shocking in itself, but it's the manner of the defeat as well. It's the lack of fight shown in those middle stages to get back into the game. And Tony Gale on commentary yesterday seemed a little bit astounded, to be honest with you, about how poor West Ham were, with the inability and the sort of lack of fight to get back into the game. We were playing walking football at stages yesterday. From their first goal going into the fourth or whatever, there was just no intensity. There was no drive to try and get back into the game. The press wasn't there. There was no fight. And we just seemed resigned to defeat very early on in that game. And it's baffling. It's baffling. I know the substitutions didn't help, but not all of that falls on David Moyes. A huge proportion of that result falls on David Moyes, but not all of it. It was a catalogue of defensive errors. There's no doubt about that one. There was defensive errors all over the gaff in the first half from Agurd, especially. He didn't have a fantastic game. And the midfield was lacking Alphonse. No, he was lacking Edson Alvarez in midfield. There's no doubt about that. And yeah, when you take out Emerson and Alvarez, it was very, very noticeable in that first half. Emerson and Alvarez are two very key players in our system, because Cresswell's just simply not good enough. I don't know why he was rested, because he was on that bench too. He was clearly good enough to play. He wasn't ill or anything, because he was on that bench, so he could have played Emerson. If he wanted to rest a fullback, I'd have rested Soufal and put Kehrer on the right-hand side, because at least Kehrer is a little bit more, has got a little bit more quality, because we all know Cresswell isn't good enough. We all know he's not up to the task, and that's not his fault. He's just got too old. He's aged too much, and he simply can't cut it anymore. And we all know that. And, Moyes put him out there, and he didn't really do too much. And then Emerson came on the second half and improved that second half down that left-hand side drastically. He was probably our best player in the second half, Emerson, alongside Jared Bowen. I thought that those were the two players that can probably hold their heads up and say they were reasonably average in the game. Apart from that, I am struggling. So those substitutions didn't help affairs at all, did it really? Apart from bringing Emerson on, Mubama didn't have a touch, barely did he, felt for the lad. Changing to a back five when we were 3-0 down at half-time completely puzzled me, to be honest with you. We haven't played a back five at all this season, so I know what we're going to do. We're going to switch to a back five when we're 3-0 down away from home. But we haven't played that system all season. So we had two centre-halves on the pitch, so we put another centre-half on the pitch in Konstantinos Mavropanos, who didn't think was great, to be honest with you. And then later on, we take Zuma off to then bring on another centre-half. So we remained with three centre-halves on the pitch. The game was all but gone by then. But that just inflicted more pain onto the fans, to be honest with you. Benrahma didn't really impact the game as much as he would have desired to. Fornal started the game, was hooked at half-time, felt for him a little bit, didn't get into the game too much. But then again, what do you expect for a player that has not played a lot of football to come on and try and make an impact or start the game for just 45 minutes and then get taken off when he failed to get any rhythm or any sort of quality into his game and get anything going down that left-hand side. Just there's loads of it to, pick apart and criticise and all the rest of it. But I'm just tired of it, to be honest with you. I'm tired of it more than anything else because of just how resigned to defeat we were yesterday, and that was the most damning thing about it. As soon as they scored, that was it. I couldn't see any route back into the game because there was no fight, there was no attacking intent. It was just like, oh well, that's it. We won Thursday, so it doesn't really matter here. That was the mentality that I was, seeing out of it. That's what the players were conveying to me, which was just not good enough. And I feel for those fans that paid 30 quid to watch that yesterday. It was really, really poor. Where do we go from here? Concentrate on the cups, as Gary said yesterday. I agree with him on the match reaction. He said, we're not going to get relegated. Let's concentrate on the cups. Let's ensure that we don't have to play in a Europa League playoff round in February. So in order to do that, we need to avoid defeat on Thursday against Freiburg, maybe rest a few against Wolves next Sunday, and then get ready for a massive quarter-final tie against Liverpool a week Wednesday. I mean, that's our biggest game. Those two games against Freiburg and Liverpool are our biggest games in December. What have we got? About 6 games left in this calendar month. Those two are our biggest games, 100%. If you were to pick out 2 games if I had to pick 2 games for West Ham to win between now and the end of the year, calendar year, of course, I'd pick the Liverpool game and then probably the Arsenal or Manchester United game, providing that we picked up a point against Freiburg. But look, we need to pick up a point against Freiburg at the very least. There's no doubt about that. They're a good side. They're in good form. So that worries me. Of course, we'll have a preview coming up for that one in the next couple of days. But yeah, Moyes needs to put a plan together. To be fair, I say that I know what he's going to do. We only need a point. So he's going to properly park the bus like we've never seen it before and play for that exact point. But listen, if we get it, I won't complain too much because that's all we need. And then we can move on and hope to beat Wolves and then move on to that big game, which I think is more important against Liverpool a week Wednesday, which could catapult us into a League Cup 2-legged semi-final where anything can happen with the competition wide open. If we beat Liverpool, then, that's another big dog that's been knocked out. There's been a few that have been knocked out already. Newcastle and Chelsea play each other. So another one of them have got to be knocked out. So look, that competition is probably going to be our best route back into Europe, isn't it? So let's go all out and try and get through in the Carabao Cup. That's my view. But yeah, that's in 10 days or 9 days time. So I'm looking forward to that one more than anything else, to be honest with you. Let's get a point against Freiburg. Let's win against Wolves, hopefully, fingers crossed. And let's give it our all up at Anfield in 9 days' time. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for watching. I'm deflated. I'm depleted, to be honest with you, after that yesterday. It was frustrating, annoying, but it was coming, to be honest with you, in recent weeks. Something like that we had to have come our way because our luck was bound to run out at some point, and it did yesterday at Craven Cottage. Thank you very much for watching. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to West Ham Unofficial if you're new. Until the next one, thank you very much, and bye-bye.